Oh boy, we got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yep.
Okay, so first things first, Sardo has mostly recovered from being a horse, of course.
Nay.
He is now his greatest fear.
The movie fixed me. It's okay.
He's been half that movie downing water like this.
Yeah, I drank a Staminon before I got on here, so it's all right.
Hey. Alright, folks, I'm Stross. Over there is Sardo, the Magnificent,
Hey,
Master of Mad.
I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. It's true.
I'm a sorcerer. Joker.
Uh,
We watched the Yakuza movie. Okay, I should rephrase that. We watched the Like a Dragon movie.
I'll admit I did kind of bully you into this, and
Well, okay. I felt I don't want to say you bullied me. You propositioned me like a devil. I was like, all right, devil, I'll take your bargain.
I just thought maybe we could check it out.
And I
And
said, yeah, all right. And so
and
we
wow.
did. And certainly was a movie. So I think first, I should explain what the movie is, and not the plot, and you'll understand why we're not going to talk about the plot much in this movie. This is based after the first game,
Yes.
which we have both played,
Yes.
and I will say about the first game's plot, it's fine. It works.
It is all right. It's serviceable.
It's a total. I would rank it in like the upper middle of Yakuza games. Like I wouldn't. It's better than 3 in overall plot because three's plot gets kind of wackadoodle.
It's a fine place to start.
It's a perfectly serviceable first game, memorable. Got all the things you want in a Yakuza game. It's just that there are better games out there.
Yeah.
And there's better Yakuza games like Yakuza 2 or 7
Yes.
or 0.
Definitely 7.
Definitely 7. Or everyone's true favorite Yakuza game. Yakuza, insert that favorite game that goes here.
Whichever your favorite is.
And that's cool. But anyway, so the first game story is about how Kiryu, after getting out of prison, gets caught up into a giant conspiracy of where 10 billion yen goes missing from the Tojo clan vaults, and he has to find it.
Mm-hmm.
While also discovering a small girl named Haruka, who will be important later, for aka the rest of his life.
This is
This is,
Kiryu in the early stages of becoming a dad.
which is hot,
Yes.
as he slowly grows hotter with age.
Like a fine wine.
The finest of wine these men are. And in doing so, it's caught up in the fact that the money was lent by a dirty politician named Jingu,
Mm-hmm.
and who we discover is also Haruka's dad, and Kiryu's ex-girlfriend, Yumi's former spouse, who she divorced because he was a piece of shit, and father of her daughter, Haruka. And that's really kind of it. That's important. His sworn brother, Nishiki, is a part of this conspiracy because he's the one who took the money from the vault. If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Note, I explained all this because the movie doesn't. It does not. The movie, in fact, doesn't really explain anything.
Now, before we dive into the meat and potatoes of the movie itself, I want to talk a little bit about the director,
Yeah, go for it.
Takeshi Miike. Takeshi Miike is near and dear to my heart. He's made some movies, as you might imagine. Well, I want to pull him up, but the main one that comes to mind, well, 2. First one is Audition, this psychological horror thriller classic about a very scary lady. And you might also know him from such things as Ichi the Killer, another Yakuza-related film with a crazy Yakuza man who dresses in really flashy clothes. He made 13 Assassins. He made fucking a movie called Hostel, different from the Eli Roth one. But
Mm-hmm.
the point is, he's made a lot of stuff. And he's pretty well known for kind of his flashy, ultra violent, very stylish kind of thrillers, especially related to things like crime and the Yakuza and what have you. So really, he was a great pick for making a Yakuza movie.
I have one
You
question
would,
before we get started.
yes, sir.
Have you seen 13 Assassins? Because I have.
Yes, I have.
It's a good movie.
So yeah, have you watched a lot of his stuff?
I have definitely seen 13 Assassins. I don't remember much of it because I fell asleep halfway through. I made the mistake of watching it way too late at night.
Mm.
Um,
You seen Ichi the Killer?
no, I've not. I haven't watched a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
But the point is,
Oh, he also did an Ace Attorney adaptation.
he also did a JoJo's adaptation too.
He's been trusted with a lot of adaptations, and oh boy.
The point is, Takeshi Miike is sort of a weird director. Not like the worst choice ever for a Yakuza movie.
Yeah, like in a lot of ways, he was a pretty sensible pick.
Mm-hmm. But
But
we're gonna start with the first problem of this movie as an adaptation. It doesn't explain what's happening ever. Like, I don't think they actually say Kiryu's name for like a good solid like 20 minutes.
this movie takes the bold step of not telling the audience what the hell was going on.
With anyone, by the way. Not
Yeah.
just Kiryu's stuff, but like even the B plot characters, like we don't know why they're here other than that they're here.
Yeah. They don't tell you anything.
Like a great point of this is there's a bank robber, these two dumb bank robbers, aka if Stross and Sardo tried to rob a bank, given life, it would go about as well as these two guys get when it comes to robbing a bank. But
Yeah, they were very comically inept.
they take up. They're not the worst of the B plot. They're just the dumber part of the B plot.
Mm-hmm.
The worst part of the B plot is this like boyfriend and girlfriend pairing who we don't learn both of their names until like halfway through the story,
Yeah.
and they're
They're doing this Bonnie and Clyde thing. The girlfriend's like, let's go rob places. I need to make a bunch of money for reasons. They go, they rob places, they buy a gun. They're both very inexperienced with this sort of thing. They're and it's I'm gonna say this nicely. I don't give a shit about them. I really don't give a shit.
No one does. They take up so much runtime. Because when we first see them, it's when some guys attack Kiryu, which is normal. So like you were remiss to think that these characters are like, oh, they're just like set dressing extras in a movie. They're not.
Nope.
They are definitely not.
They are damn near the main characters.
I think they actually have as much, if not more, screen time than Kiryu does. They say more words.
They do.
Which, mostly because they talk more. It's just funny because it feels like, because this movie doesn't bother, because the game sets up the whole story of what's going on in Yakuza 1.
It explains everything to you, and there's a difference between, in the case of the movie, there's a difference between a film not spoon feeding you the plot, letting you figure things out for yourself, and then just flat out not telling you anything.
Like, okay, so the character of Akira Nishikiyama, who is actually emotionally super important to the plot of Yakuza 1.
He's Kiryu's sworn brother, best friend, heterosexual life partner for like a good chunk of
His
Kiryu's pre-jail life. Yeah.
life. Basically from when Kiryu was a little kid to when
They grew up together.
They grew up together. They in the same orphanage where they couldn't dream because they're orphans. To like when Kiryu was up until when Nishikiyama kills someone he shouldn't have in an understandable situation.
Yeah, like he's justified in killing him. The guy had it coming.
But
But
okay,
Kiryu takes the fall for him.
to explain, just so we're clear, Kiryu is dating this girl named Yumi.
Mm-hmm.
And their boss, well, not their boss, but like the guy above, like 2 steps above them.
Their general manager.
Yeah, basically a man named not Daigo. What's his first name? I know it's Dojima, but what's his?
Oh, fucking.
Oh god, what's his first
He's
name?
some Dojima guy.
He's the head of the Dojima family clan, and he's important.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, Dojima, that's who we are.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he's the patriarch of the Dojima family. And in the first game, he attempts to do some horrible things to poor Yumi.
He assaults Yumi.
He assaults her. Doesn't get very far as we know. Mostly because
but assaults her nonetheless.
Assaults her but thankfully for her, it doesn't get any worse because Nishiki comes in and kills him. But the problem is he killed his boss.
And, regardless of the reason, that's still bad for Nishiki.
That's still bad for Nishiki. And Kiryu, who's like, man, you did my girl solid, and you're my best friend, and basically my actual literal brother.
I'm gonna take the fall for you, because Kiryu is noble to his own detriment.
Yes. So he goes to prison for 10 years. Which, bad, but it's not like the worst thing on the planet.
I mean, in terms of like people who fare poorly in prison, you could do worse than being Kiryu.
In prison, the biggest guy tried to challenge Kiryu and then learned a very valuable lesson.
Yes.
He punched him one time and Kiryu didn't even notice.
But he gets out after 10 years and he's no longer part of his family. He's on his own. And we pick up from there. That's where the events of 1 start.
Yeah. And all of that important details is not in the movie.
Nope.
At all. Not
Nowhere
even
to be seen.
Not even flashback to in like a throwaway scene. When Nishiki doesn't show up until like the very end of the movie, and you'd be remiss to know who the fuck he is. If you did not play the first game and you asked yourself, who the fuck is this character, you would not know who it is.
And the only thing that gets mentioned at all is the fact that Kiryu was in jail.
Yeah. Like
not even what he was there for.
Yeah. So many of the key important details that should have been made in this movie are not in the movie. Instead, we hang out with these 2 bubbling chuckle fucks a lot who just kind of... I'm sorry. I do not care about them. I do not like the fact that they took up so much runtime of the movie.
Their scenes are easily the least enjoyable.
Not only the least enjoyable, they also take up way more time than they have any right to.
Yes.
Because they're like, if the movie was entirely about them, it'd be a bit different. But then it'd just be like Run Lola Run, but Japanese and somehow more and less weird.
But it's very frustrating because they are essentially Takeshi Miike's original characters. And that wouldn't be a crime in and of itself, but they are just... I don't give a shit about them. I want to see Kiryu do the punch.
The problem is that this movie is based after a game, and we've played that game, so we know what happens. And very little of that actually happens.
Yeah.
With that said, there's another plot cul-de-sac with a Korean assassin. I don't
So
I don't know
has
why he's here.
I also has pretty much nothing to do with anything. I
He
thought the guy I thought the guy who played the assassin was kind of cool.
no
Really
like
tall.
he's this really tall dude in a trench coat. He's kind of neat, but he doesn't really. He surprisingly does a lot of important things, but not really in a way that makes you give a shit about him.
Yeah, he's just sort of there.
He kills the main villain of Yakuza 1's plot, like unceremoniously shoots him, and then that's it. And it's like, why are you here, man? That's kind of the problem with this movie is the phrase, why are you here, is asked in many different contexts and ways.
Who are you?
Who are you? Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? And
So,
yeah.
yeah.
That's the problem. Really, I guess the best way for us to put it is the best way to describe it is, huh?
The way I see it, and I said this when we were watching it, is it feels like Takashi Miike is that kid who was supposed to write a book report, and he put it off until the day before, and he read the Cliff Notes version, and he absorbed some of it. He absorbed maybe a couple of the characters, and like maybe a few of the important plot hooks, and then he just made a bunch of shit up.
Yeah,
And he turned that in, and that was his assignment.
It's just really funny because it's like it's not the worst movie we've ever watched.
And I'll say, for what it's worth, I enjoy this movie.
Oh no,
I really do.
What's so funny about this movie is that what it gets right frustrates you about the writing more, because it got the tone of the games right, where it's like sometimes it's very serious and at times it's utterly goofy.
And there's just bits where I was thinking it's like this should have been in the games.
Well, like a
And
great example, it's time that we talk about him.
Yes, let's crack this egg.
Anyway, we need to talk about one, Goro Kishitani as Goro Majima. Ooh, same name.
And just
he
absolute chef's kiss.
Yeah, Goro Kishitani was picture perfect casting, and kind of picture perfect as the only thing wrong about him is that the eye patch is on the wrong side, but that's only because that's the eye heat that doesn't apparently work on his own personal person.
So really, it makes sense, and it's like, in a way, it's kind of pitch perfect that you're having like an actor with a similar disability play that disabled character.
Yeah, which is neat. But basically, the point is, but outside of this, if our biggest complaint is the eye patch is on the wrong side,
that's a non-issue.
That's a non. He is perfect.
He's perfect.
He get, especially because this is like Yakuza 1 Majima before all the character development.
Mm-hmm.
So this Majima is violent, weird, crazy.
Just absolutely erratic. There's a scene that I love where he and his boys are looking for Kiryu, and they're on the streets just raising hell, and they have a big fight. And at the end of it, there's like trash cans knocked over and like dudes lying on the ground and just shit all messed up. And then one of his lackeys spits, and he's like, "You can't go spitting on the streets," and he beats his ass with the butt of a shotgun. And it's just perfectly Yakuza 1 Majima. And occasionally people will ask the question, it's like, what's your favorite
hold on. You've got the punchline of this joke is when the camera pans out and the whole place is a mess from the fighting that they were doing earlier.
Yes.
And every one of his goons are just looking around like, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But like sometimes people will ask, it's like, what's your favorite take on Majima? Like Zero Majima or like Ishin? And my answer is live action Majima.
No,
So perfect.
he is like he is basically what Majima was in like the first two games or so.
And he's different in some interesting ways because like he doesn't laugh or raise his voice. Like he's actually got like a pretty chill vocal range normally, but he's Majima in all the essential
Like
ways.
he doesn't cackle, he doesn't do like Kiryu-chan or any of that shit. What he does do is get the vibe of the character so perfectly in a way that just cannot be explained if you've never watched it.
He didn't understand the assignment. He wrote the assignment.
I mean, the best way to really describe it is sometimes you just hit gold.
Also, his goatee is very obviously drawn on with like pencil, and
It's
it's
so
very funny.
it is very funny. With that said, it's otherwise fantastic. He's fantastic. Every scene he's in is the best part of the movie, especially the part where they're driving away in an ambulance after he got his ass kicked by Kiryu in one of the few scenes from the game that make it into the movie. What's it called? At the
Yeah, at the batting cages.
At the batting cages, and he's like, "Oh God, there's a war going on. Oh, we got to go back." And then he goes like while half beaten up, goes all the way into the front of the ambulance and starts beating up the drivers.
And he headbutts one of them.
Yeah. He'd been hit in the head several times by Kiryu.
And he rips off his oxygen mask because he's on oxygen.
Which is
He
like
pulls it,
he pulls it out.
and he crawls over his dudes, and he goes in there and he just grabs hold of the steering wheel after beating up the ambulance drivers. And I love the bit where he's like, well, taxpayers pay for the ambulance, right? And that's when he goes up there, and it absolutely tickles me.
It's like Miike hit on one thing, and that is casting Majima, because everyone else is like, one of the biggest problems in this movie is everyone's suit looks like it doesn't fit.
It's everybody was wearing a suit at least 2 sizes too big for them.
Yeah. Just too big of suits. But Majima, pitch perfect casting. No notes.
And my personal hypothesis for why he nailed Majima and nothing else, but besides the fact that Kishitani was a fantastic choice, is just because Majima is so very much Miike's type. Because you see it with his other one of his other Yakuza movies, Ichi the Killer. You have the character of Kakihara, who was also Ichi the Killer was originally a manga. Kakihara was very different. And in the portrayal of him there, and he's played by Tadanobu Asano in this role, and iconic. Absolutely iconic. He's the blonde fuck with the weird scars. And I think Miike just loves crazy gay Yakuza. and I think that's what it is. He saw Majima and he's like, oh yeah, I can do this.
And he's good in that. We want to make that abundantly clear. We're praising Kishitani's performance because he nails it, like in a way that makes you go, like, if we were to cast a new movie for this, he would be the only guy who returns, no questions asked.
Yeah, no. He's it.
Yeah, he's
the guy.
And he does a great job, which is what makes this movie frustrating, is that sometimes this movie nails it, like, so hard. And other times it fails so hard.
The other bit I really loved that's non-Majima related was the bits with the Staminon.
Oh yeah. Okay, so for those who don't know, the energy drinks are a health item in the Yakuza series.
Mm-hmm.
So when Kiryu, who is coming off of fighting basically against Majima again to fighting
Yeah,
Nishiki, is getting his butt kicked, and right when he's
and
being
he'd gotten stabbed in the first fight.
yeah, he got stabbed, and he's got a bleeding wound. You can see it. So this is not like a unestablished thing. And he's like, ugh. And then he just drinks it and then he beats everyone up. It's really great. It's like, yes, I too have pressed the pause menu and picked enough healing items to get myself back to full health.
I also love that they include the like little heat mode flame special effects.
Oh, and it looks so bad.
It's so cheesy and so perfect.
It's a weird movie in this regard because like there are parts about it that nail the Yakuza tone and feel so well. And then there are times because like you and I have played enough Yakuza games to say like for all the serious crime drama bits, this game is goofy as shit.
Oh yeah.
Like these side stories are comical and silly and weird stuff just happens all the time. And then it's like back to the serious plot of where bad things happen.
Yeah, and there's a lot of whiplash there, and in the games you can definitely work with that whiplash because it's just you know that's just part of it.
Well, there's that aspect of when you play the game, you have the ability to like space all this stuff out. Like this is side content that you do for fun versus when you don't want to go to the plot or you need a breather.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in a movie, it's incredibly whiplashy because you're only like this movie's not that long. It's like a little under. It's like an hour and 45 minutes in terms of what's actually the movie, discounting credits.
And it's harder to be charitable with the movie because you just don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem in the movie is that like nothing is explained, and not in like and it's not like we cut the faffing about from a game because some games like there's a lot of faffing about.
Oh yeah,
this one is a case of oh god. Shit, man. What the fuck's happening?
It feels like they cut out significant bits of stuff that could have made more sense of the story.
Like, if you cut all the, like, the B-plot characters and just inserted, like, 10 minutes of just
tell us, like...
Just tell us why things are happening, this movie would make, like, 100 times more sense.
It's like slightly more about Nishiki, maybe?
Nishikiyama, who in the original game is one of the most key and important parts of driving the plot, doesn't appear until like after most of the movie is done. And it's noticeable because when he first showed up, he appears up for like 5 seconds. You're like, and it's very clear he's important because he's in the middle of the screen and he's like, looks all important. And he did nothing.
And also, I remember this from like years back watching this movie with another friend. When Nishiki finally makes his big appearance and he's standing there in the Millennium Tower waiting to fight Kiryu, just laughing our asses off because he just looks so fucking like he's there in his white pants with his sad face. It's just
and
goofy.
You know the funny part is like the ultimate bad guy, the guy who's the most like important for being the bad guy, Jingu, it doesn't say a word. I don't think he has a single line in this movie. He just shows up.
You just see him once or twice, and
and then he dies. Like, this is the guy who's the cause of all of, like, because Nishikiyama in the original game is can be best described as the heavy. He's the one who
Yeah.
carries the plot. But the ultimate villain, he's the Darth Vader of the story.
It Nishiki's the one that you really care about. Like, I mean, care about in terms of like you you understand a little bit of like his history with Kiryu, and you feel for him because even though he does some shit, it's like you understand how he got to that point.
Yeah. But it's just really funny that they just skip all of
Yeah.
that. Like,
Just fuck it.
like
Fuck it.
any of the establishment.
It's like, no, we need this B plot with these bank robbers and these two young people.
It's just so funny because it's not even that it's bad. It's just it feels like there's no reason for this to be here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I ever worried about writing my own Yakuza characters, at least they're not these two motherfuckers.
Yeah. So if you have OCs, don't feel bad about them. They are undoubtedly significantly better than those characters.
It's true, Joker.
Also, I want to drop the other thing. We're gonna do kind of a compliment negativity sandwich here.
Oh,
I
okay.
want to talk about the dog. I want to talk about the dog.
Yeah, let's talk about the dog. It's a cute dog right there.
The fat Shiba Inu was my second favorite character. I love this dog. I'm pretty sure his name is Mame. I couldn't find anywhere to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's
cute
his
dog.
name.
It's a cute dog right there.
And I know they had to have like a couple different Shibas playing this part because he gets fatter in every consecutive scene he's in. He's like a pretty normal sized Shiba at the beginning, and then by the end he's chunky.
He's a good
He's
boy.
so chunky.
He's a good boy right there. And he's just
And he survives.
he's fine. He's not in the movie enough to get hurt. But it's just
Well, like he does basically survive a building explosion.
well, or at least is there in the aftermath. I'm not sure if he was in there to begin with. It's hard to tell.
I like to think he was, and that he was just tough enough to survive it. But I love that dog.
It's a good dog right there.
Takes an explosion like no problem. Not afraid or anything.
Yeah, I guess if we were to sum up our thoughts on this movie, like legitimately, it would be vibes correct, nothing else is.
I love this movie because it's zero accuracy, but perfect vibes.
It's
And
like,
I think
it's like a bad cover of a song where the music's still like great. No,
yeah.
You know what it's like?
Mm.
I'm gonna ask you a really strange question. You know the band Amon
Okay.
Amarth, right?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever hear their cover of the song Aerials by System of a Down?
Yes.
That's the song equivalent of this movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is weird. The vibe somehow still fits, but also not really at the same time.
It's like I can say with absolute certainty, Takeshi Miike didn't watch or play more than 15 minutes of Yakuza tops. Like he does not have a damn clue what's going on in that game, and I love him for it. And that's the funny thing is like me personally, I'm not really bothered at all that like there's really not very much of the actual Yakuza plot or story involved in this. It's very much just the window dressing, but I really, really enjoy this movie. It's comforting. It's like a big bowl of beef stew on a cold night.
Like, I don't care that doesn't... Like, as a movie, I would say that it's bad. I kind of... Like, what it really makes me want to do is that I wished Miike was allowed to just, like, do a movie about shit that happens around Kamurocho.
Yes.
Because
Like,
that would be a
get,
much better movie than the movie he made.
get him on a side story movie.
Yeah, just like let him do a movie about just the random happenings in this one part of Tokyo where weird shit just always happens.
Also, personally, because I feel like this character was made for Miike's work, I'd love to see Miike do like a short film about Nishitani. But no, I'm not just saying that. No, I want you to think. Stross, you laugh. I want you to think
No,
about
I
that
laugh
though.
because that's like what I'm like it's good. I was like, Sardo's gonna talk about Nishitani. And it's like
Yes, I am.
Nishitani. I'm like,
No,
yep.
but no,
I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way. I just think it's funny
no.
that I know you
Think
this
about
well.
it though.
No,
No, it's
I think like him just doing a bunch of random stories about random Yakuza characters and
yeah.
like what their daily lives were like would be a much better movie.
Get him on like a story of like a couple of like the backstories of some of the Zero characters. That would be so good.
Like basically the best way to put it is do a different movie than the one that like let him just do like Camaracho the movie.
Yeah.
Not have a plot. Don't be one of those movies where there's like a lot like a through a plot through line just bunch of random like or like an anthology movie.
Yeah, an anthology movie would be great.
Yeah. Just something
I like
other
that.
than having to follow the plot of the first game because it's like because the whole climax of the movie is this fight between Nishiki and it's just like who is this guy?
And,
Why are we
and
here?
and the feeling I get is just that like Miike does not strike me as having been terribly interested in that story. It's like, okay, whatever.
That's what makes it really
You know,
weird.
the other thing I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
while we're on this, in terms of just Miike doing stuff that Miike does very well. I want to talk about the homosexual undertones of this movie. I got to talk about that.
Go for it.
And I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm like in terms of pairings and everything, I'm actually not a very big Kiryu Majima person. I get why people see it. I totally understand. It's not my thing. So I'm not seeing this with like shipper goggles, but like this was there was shit in this movie that was so sexually charged, and I'm so glad that he went that route. I think a lot of us have seen the scene
Well, I know I
where
have. I can't say I
Majima.
haven't. I watched the movie.
I would hope you had. You watched this movie with me, Strauss.
No,
But you know the one I'm talking about.
Yes, I am.
And like Majima beats Kiryu's ass, and then he climbs on him, and with his crotch in Kiryu's face, loving close up of Majima's leather-clad groin, he goes to stab Kiryu, and there's like pink lighting. It's shot in a brothel.
Sadly, it's not how that brothel scene went in the original game, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, but I don't know, Strauss. What do you think, as maybe somebody with a slightly different perspective from mine? Like, what was your view of that bit of it?
Well, it's just funny. There was no other reason to put his legs around his head other than to be gay.
It was very gay, and I also noticed too during the fight scene leading up to that, when they're in the hallway, Majima goes to pin Kiryu to the wall and like slams his crotch against Kiryu's. And it's like, you did not need to do that. I know you didn't need to do that, but you did it.
The only downside with this brothel fight scene is it isn't set up like how it was in the game where Majima drives a pink dump truck through the front entrance.
I wish we'd gotten the pink dump truck. I'm very sad that we didn't have
Instead
that.
we got this really weird scene.
We got a helicopter instead.
A CGI helicopter flying through like downtown Tokyo, way too close to anything. to be
And it
legal.
doesn't really do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's bits and bobs of this movie that really capture what Yakuza's intended to be.
Yeah, there is
And
aspects to this movie that are perfect,
mhm.
and then there's aspects of these movies that are very much of this movie that is very much not. And it's it's an interesting viewing experience.
Yeah, and it's interesting too with the entire interplay, like the interplay of sex and violence and that, because it's something we see in some of his other movies, and I think it's nice that he brought it over to this because it's like, yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
You did good.
I wouldn't recommend this movie, not because I think it's bad, but because like if you watch it without playing the first Yakuza game, you're gonna be so confused.
Yeah, play the game.
Play the game, and if you're like, if you're like, I want to see maybe the like perfect version of Majima IRL, then you watch this movie, or you can just watch all the Majima scenes. You won't miss much else.
Yeah,
because the Kiryu scenes
This
aren't
is-
that long.
And okay, we didn't really talk about Kiryu in this very much
He's not really in this
because
movie.
there's not really a whole lot to say about him.
Like, not because the actor is bad. He's just not really in the movie much.
And also like the actor did a fine job. He did a very fine job, but for one thing, he neither looks nor sounds like Kiryu.
He's not big enough. He's too small.
He's a very like average sized guy. And Kiryu is very distinctive looking.
Yeah, like this is not his fault, obviously, because he's not crafted like a video game character. It's weird that he's just not in the movie that much, which is the real weird part to me.
Yeah, and this just feels so much like the writers being kind of bored with Kiryu as a character, which is a shame because he's not a boring character.
He's not. I kind of get it if you weren't interested in him after the first game, because this came out like the same year the game came out, and we're obviously approaching these characters after like 17 years of games coming out.
Yeah.
Like, we're coming with the knowledge of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, a couple of spin-offs with these characters in different contexts. So for us, it's weird.
And this just feels like something that was written by a Majima fan. And I love Majima. Very, very clearly, I am also a Majima fan. But the type of Majima fan who is like, well, Kiryu's boring. And he doesn't do anything interesting.
It's the type of person who can't appreciate what Kiryu is in all of this, which is the straight man.
Yes.
Like, once you understand that Kiryu's whole job is to be the serious one in all of the comedy, then once you realize that's his purpose, that's when you start realizing how fun he is. That's when you realize how great Kiryu is as a character.
And that way you can kind of dig into Kiryu's own hidden silliness.
Like how he isn't very good at certain things, and the game writers love putting him into those situations.
Also, sometimes he eats worms. I think that's my main beef with this movie, is that Kiryu didn't eat worms in this. I think a proper Yakuza movie should have that.
In the end, I would say a movie is like a 6 out of 10. Interesting, though. It's the type of movie that if you're a Yakuza super fan, you've probably already watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like becoming a Yakuza super fan, yeah, go ahead and watch it. You understand what's going on, so you at least have the backstory, so you don't need the rest of it. And you could just enjoy the movie for what it is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you're going into this without knowing anything, it's a terrible adaptation.
Oh yeah.
Just awful. It explains
it's
nothing.
it's a it's garbage at telling any sort of story.
But if you're going in like wanting like a silly little time for less than 2 hours, it's perfect. And I
And
think
I
that's
think
fine.
by and large, if you're already a fan of the Yakuza series, you've probably got enough of a sense of humor to enjoy this movie with its faults included.
Like, there's this one part where where both Majima and Kiryu are shooting at each other with guns, but they ran out of bullets, but they're still trying to shoot each other, and it keeps going for like a solid minute. That's how, if you can understand why that scene's hilarious and perfectly accurate to these two characters, you're ready.
Yeah. It's like, just don't take it too seriously and you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surreal comedy in the end. But I feel like that's enough on the movie because, well, the movie doesn't want to explain anything. Why should we?
A salient point, my friend.
So, Sardo, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
The hell you watching?
You know, not a whole lot as of lately, but I'll tell you what I got cooking right now.
Ooh, what you cooking?
Your boy is downloading Baldur's Gate 3 right now as we
everyone,
speak.
I'd like to apologize for the sudden disappearance of my co-host for the next 4 years.
I'd like to say, Stross, it's been great knowing you. It's been a great time on the podcast. I'm going to miss it, but, you know, you understand.
Luckily for Sardo, jokes aside, I just know what Sardo's going to be doing in his free time now when he's not doing stuff with me.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm so ready, dude. I'm so ready. I've already been a fan of this stupid game and I haven't even played it yet. So
all I'm
really...
going to ask out of you is tell me how it runs on PS5 because I have no idea.
You got it.
Because I've been playing on PC, and I've played CRPGs on a console before. Not a huge fan, personally.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't really designed for it, but who knows? If it runs well, then, hey, good for them.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'll give you my review.
Yeah.
But
in the meantime, anything else interesting?
You know, not a whole lot of note. Things have been kind of busy, so I really haven't had a chance to do a whole lot else, but that's my big thing and I'm really looking forward to it.
I know you're going to like it because I've liked it too.
Yes. What about you?
Let's see. I recently finished I know what I did. I finished the DLC for Cyberpunk 2077 just the other night.
Yeah.
I finished the Phantom Liberty. And I'd say is uncool game. Don't make me make those kind of decisions. Uncool of you, man. Don't worry. Oof. I'm not saying, for those who are wondering why I'm not going in depth, it's because Sardo knows my stream schedule that at some point at the end of this year, I'm going to be starting Cyberpunk 2077 for stream.
Yes.
And it's just like, this game, the DLC gives you some hard-ass decisions to make that aren't, they're hard.
So give us an update. How's Mean Keanu in this?
I'm going to be honest. A friend of mine who's been playing it alongside me, I was much more farther ahead because they were playing like the whole game again to get used to the dated version of the game. Said it very well. Anyone who says Keanu can't act needs to be dumped in a ditch. Because he's, like, I really appreciate him as Johnny Silverhand more and more by the day. Because there are parts of this game where he just, chef kiss.
Good for him.
Like, there's a point where it's, because the main major decision is picking which side between two characters. And he basically goes, it's like, man, I don't know. You're dealing with two people who are doing things for the right reasons, but will refuse to change their ways.
Ooh, that's tough.
Oh, it's tough. And you'll see it eventually. You'll notice.
Well, very good. I look forward to it.
You'll notice, Sardo. Joker.
Joker.
You're gonna
Looking forward to it.
you're gonna see it eventually.
It's gonna be so fun.
Oh, I can't wait until you get to meet mean Keanu.
Oh, mean Keanu.
It's gonna be fun. But yeah, no, it's fun. New stuff, new gigs. You're gonna like what Mr. Hands looks like.
All right.
But yeah, it was really fun. If you were like, I don't know, is Cyberpunk worth playing now? It is.
All right.
It's a fun game. It does its thing. I like it. It's a good game.
Yeah.
Let's see, anything else I've been doing? I'm gonna be finishing up Ishin finally.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm gonna say this sort of too many games this year. You know, like it was so bad that even Baldur's Gate 3 got supplanted by a new game coming out.
Damn.
Like that Armored Core 6 came out. I'm like, I gotta play Armored Core now. I can't stop.
There's a lot going on.
It's a good year for video games. We know for a fact that Spy Family's coming back. That's fun.
And we got to see the new
the
new opening.
It's
very cute.
It's cute. It's not. I like the second opening more.
Yeah, me too.
Well, that's only because like there's people have like dissected. It's like we're pretty sure some of these scenes are from Lloyd's point of view, and it's like soft focus filter on all of his family, of his. We're gonna say fake family, with quotations, because Spy Family's weird, and I think you're gonna agree with me when I say it. Where it's like, I've never seen a show where the hetero pairings are the ones people like the most. Like vehemently want the man and the woman to kiss. Because it's rare.
You know that's a good hetero pairing.
Like, I'm trying to think of the last time I was part of a fan base where the biggest and most popular pairing was actually the main couple, and on purpose. Like, legitimately, when was the last time I was in something like that?
Probably not for a while.
I'm trying to think, but because it's like, not Final Fantasy VII, you fuckers. You know who you are.
And when I say, and I mean this in a kind and supportive way, the grip that your forger has on the collective dick of the world.
Oh, it's great. For once,
it's
I think you agree with me. I believe the phrase you want to use is, as said on Twitter, it's really nice for this year's seasonal waifu to actually be over the age of 25.
Yes, it is. We love Yor. She's wonderful.
It's so rare for like a heterosexual couple in a show to not only A, be popular, but B, actually perfect.
Just fucking cute. Cute as hell.
She's cute. Their daughter's cute. They're a cute couple.
I love this family.
Family. I no, zero notes needed. None.
Yes, agreed.
Other than, no, actually there's one note. And that note is kiss. This series is everyone waiting for them to actually just kiss for real this time.
Now kiss.
It's incredible. Because like you and I have been on the internet for a long time.
A very long time. Do not cite the deep magic to me, witch.
But it's like, what are some of your like childhood, like these were the things I was in stuff where you were on the internet for?
Naruto.
Oh, that definitely, that heterosexual pairing was not only not number one, but also like fifth.
Masashi Kishimoto can't write a fucking woman to save his life.
It's not even that he can't write a woman, it's just that he can't write a romance to save his ass.
I would say he also can't write a woman. I love a lot of his female characters, but in this
I'm
I want to save them.
I wasn't saying you were wrong. I'm just saying He can't even write a romance either.
He can't write either of them.
Which is fine. You don't need to be good at either of those things. It's just
But
really bad when that's your end game at one point.
and also like you shouldn't be like the it thing of the moment if you can't do either of those things and you have them anyway. But anyway, I'm sorry. I am reliving old traumas right now.
We could talk about Naruto a different night. But yeah, it's like actually Bleach is an interesting case. Because I don't really think I'm not as familiar with Bleach fandom as I am with Naruto fandom. Despite being in neither fan base, which is the funny part.
I want to say Bleach fans were not as aggressive, but that's probably just because I didn't see the worst of it.
No,
I don't know.
I think you're right. I think they were I think their problem was deciding who was going to be final girl.
Yeah.
That part was intense. I remember that one.
I remember a lot of hatred for Orihime, which sucked, and she is not my favorite character in Bleach,
We
not by a
all
long
know who
shot.
your favorite is.
Yes.
It's Mayuri.
Yes.
I realized that was a joke, and that was 100% accurate. I wasn't meant to be accurate.
Me.
I mean,
You know me.
You love the weird, creepy scientist. Oh, I have to send you a thing then.
All right.
But yeah, I think
it was a rough lot in life being in a shonen fandom in the early aughts.
That it was
what I'm trying to say.
I was there, but I wasn't into any of those shows, so it was a very fascinating existence.
Oh man, it was rough.
It was rough, Joker.
It was very rough, Joker. They were mean to the girls.
They were so mean to the girls.
For no reason other than internalized misogyny.
Which we've talked about before in a different episode, actually.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. I could go on about this forever.
This will be a topic that we come back to. I promise that's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Just it will. But I think let's see, anything else I've been up to? I have to read Roadside Picnic.
Ooh.
Do you know anything about Roadside Picnic?
I do.
Well, then you know that it's also the basis for the game Stalker.
Yes. Get
So-
out of here, stalker. Oh, I forgot the other thing. I lied. There was another thing I picked up recently. Golden Kamui.
Oh, yeah, that's very for you.
Oh yeah, it's just like, I keep seeing these old fuckers on my timeline. I want to know more about them, so I started reading it. It's pretty cool. A guy fought a bear.
Yeah.
I like it so far.
Yeah, I hear it's very, very good.
Yeah,
It's
I like
definitely
it so far.
dropped in popularity as of late. I don't know if that's because it's like finished or what. Because as you know, sometimes when like a thing drops in popularity, it's just because it stopped being the thing of the moment, and sometimes it's for reasons.
I don't know. I think from what I have heard, there is some like eyebrow raising shit in it, but it's like, I don't know.
Well, no,
I don't know.
In fairness, when I say reasons, I should explain that to people. That could mean anything. That's a catch-all for either the writing went down the drain, or it just, or like something with the author, or it just lost popularity.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just getting into it about 5 years late, as is my way of doing things.
You're not the
And
first
I'm
person.
enjoying-
You're not even the only one who's done that before.
I'm enjoying it so far.
Well, that's
It's
good.
pretty good.
Definitely a very for you thing.
Oh yes.
But I feel like that's a good place to wrap things up.
I'd
Sardo,
say
where
so.
can they find you?
Well, you can find me on several places. I'm still on Twitter. I will be going down with the sinking ship. I am at Autopsy Garlands on Twitter. Marquis Belial is my art account. And I'm also on Blue Sky under Uncle Death with a K. And also on Twitch, also under Uncle Death. And you can find me on Sundays, not Sundays, on Mondays, I'm sorry.
Well,
Streaming art.
in fairness, you do are have a tendency to be found on Sundays streaming.
In a different place.
But you instead are on my Twitch channel, which is Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays on at Almighty Stross. I'm at Almighty Stross on Blue Sky and on Twitter.
Yes.
I don't have an art account because I don't draw.
Streaming is your art.
I guess it's performance, so yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm your
And
least problematic streamer.
And we're having some fun right now. You're streaming Yakuza 7.
Yeah, we've had a very Yakuza-filled, past 4 weeks.
It's been wonderful. I've really enjoyed it.
You're like, this is great. We need to do this more often. And I'm like,
I'm-
yeah!
I'm happier than a mom on dollar margarita night at Applebee's.
Woo! But yes, come see us for your guys is tomorrow, for me on several days from now, as we play more Yakuza 7. And later tonight, for all y'all, Sardo will be streaming. So look out for that. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 p.m. his time in the mountains.
I look forward to it.
We look forward to seeing you. Have a good night, or a good day, or whenever you're listening to this, or when I post this. Because that remains to be seen when I remember to upload.
Have a good time.
Have a good day. And no, that's not how those lyrics go. Fuck. Goodbye, everyone. We're gonna leave on my failings.
Bye.